Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So my name is Muhammad Ridwan bin Khairuddin and I'm from class DBIT 4C.
My name is Naim bin ELLIAS. I'm also from DBIT 4C. So today we're going to present about business statistic QMT2043.
Okay, moving on into introduction. For introduction for this research, coronavirus is a large virus family that causes a variety of illnesses, ranging from the common cold to more serious illnesses such as Middle East
Puan.
respiratory syndrome (MERS-CoV) and severe acute respiratory syndrome SARS-CoV. The term novel coronavirus (nCoV) refers to a new coronavirus strain that has never been seen in humans before. The coronavirus disease in 2019, COVID-19, has been declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization (WHO). To stop the virus from spreading further, a global concerted effort is required. The pandemic is described as a disease that spreads across a large geographic area and affects a large percentage of the population. The world's most recent pandemic was the 2009 H1N1 flu pandemic.
So next, for the type of variable, we got two, qualitative and quantitative. So for qualitative variable is one that can be measured. This variable is impossible to quantify numerically. Qualitative data refers to information gathered on a quantitative variable. For example, the type of vaccine distributed are quantitative data that we measure in this assignment. For instance, we use gender as our quantitative data. So for the next one, quantitative variable. Quantitative variable is one whose value is derived from counting or measuring. This variable can be numerically measured. Quantitative data refers to information gathered on a quantitative variable. For instance, we have number of cases, number of location, and more.
Okay, now I'm going to talk about sampling technique that we use. There are numerous sampling techniques to choose from. We are using the probability sampling technique, which is cluster sampling techniques and simple random sampling. When a cluster forms naturally in a population, uh, when you do not have access to entire population, and when the clusters are geographically suitable, cluster sampling techniques are the most effective. For instance, we collect data from the people who had taken COVID-19 tests and people who had been positive for COVID-19. Probability sampling saves time and resources. In this sampling technique, we start with the achieved sampling frame of all qualified individuals for which to select from the sample.
So data collection, for data collection, we choose secondary data because for the first one, secondary data improve the overall effectiveness of most case studies. And the second one, the internet is also one of the most widely used method for gathering the secondary data. And the last one, quantitative data, that we had collect, we have number of cases, number of location, and more. And quantitative data, they are gender, total people test, and people test positive for COVID-19.
Quantitative data. So for the first quantitative data, we use histogram graph. As you can see here, for the x-axis, we put cases, self-boundaries, and for the y-axis, we put number of location. After that, we got mode for this graph, which is 189.
Okay, segment for quantitative data is frequency polygon. So in this graph, for the x-axis we put x midpoint, and for the y-axis we put number of location.
Okay, for the last quantitative data, we use ogive graph. As we can see here, for the x-axis, we put cases, and for the Um, for the y-axis, we put number of cases. F. Uh, for the median for this graph, as we can see here, we already mark it right here. So after that, we got 158.5 for the median.
So for the qualitative data, so the pie chart above gives the result of the COVID-19 test by sex, which is female and male, from 1 January 2021 to 19 September 2021. The pie chart above clearly show that most of those tests for COVID-19 were female, with only a 6 difference between male and female. In conclusion, as female constitute the majority of those tests for the COVID-19 test, most female are always in a tight space or place with many people who are close. So as you can see for the pie chart, so percentage for the female are more than male. So that's why.
For the next qualitative data, we use bar charts. Before that, I would like to explain. Um, from 22nd January 2021 to 90th September 2021, the bar chart above represent the number of people tested for COVID-19 and the number of tested positive for COVID-19. There were decreased trends in total people tested on female and male, as shown in the graph. While there is no significant difference in the number of people who test positive between males and females, there is substantial difference in total of number of positive people. From 22nd January 2021 to 80th September 2021, COVID-19 tests by sex, female and male, collected 1,681,480 tested people for female and 1,515,263 tested people for male. However, the number of people who tested positive for women was just 2,354, while those tested positive for men were 2,576. So as we can see here, the bar chart, um, the female is more than the male um, in the total for people tested, but the actual result for tested positive, male is more than the female for the number of tested positive.
Okay, for data analysis, this is mean, mode, and median. So as you can see, for the calculation mean, uh, we got 248.5238. So the interpretation, average case obtained of 21 location in New Zealand is estimate 248.52 case. So for the mode, the calculation for the mode, and the last answer is 489 cases. And the interpretation, most of the location has 189 cases of COVID-19. And the last one, median, the calculation for the median, and the last answer for the median, 158.59. So for the median interpretation, 50% of the cases of 21 location in New Zealand are less than 159 cases per quarter, which is between 4 to 159 cases. The other 50% are more than 159 cases per quarter, which is between 159 to 1,509 cases.
Okay, this is standard deviation. As we can see here, from the left, this is variance. We got the answer for the variance is 188,953.85. And for standard deviation, the answer we got here is 434.688. Interpretation. For first mean, we got 444.688, and then we and then we and then we got minus 186.1641. After that, we add, we got six 683.2118. And then, conclusion: number of cases of 21 locations in New Zealand is estimated between 186 cases to 683 cases per location.
So finally, we need the conclusion. So for the conclusion, in conclusion, our finding shows that early and intensive implementation of national COVID-19 suppression strategies effectively alter the course of the epidemic in New Zealand, limiting disease burden and inequities in this high-income democratic setting and achieving COVID-19 elimination initially.
This in line with World Health Organization guidelines for quick, decisive national leadership in making evidence-based, risk-based escalation and de-escalation decisions that include rigorous case identification, isolation, contact tracing, and quarantine procedures, as well as population education and participation. However, more surveillance and research are required to fully comprehend the cost advantages of this strategy, including the indirect population health and social implications. And that is all from us. I would like to say thank you for watching our presentation
Sorry if you have made a bad mistake.
and have a nice day too. I hope
Yeah.
you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and leave a comment down below.
Alright.
Last but not
Alright.
least, subscribe too. Alright, bye.